more, to be honest. But then something in me after the pandemic knew that it was no longer fulfilling. The joy I felt when I first started teaching, because you see, when I first started teaching, my first 2 years, I didn't even have a classroom. I would change rooms when the bell rang, just like the students, but I loved it. And then my third year, I had a trailer for a classroom. I didn't care because it was now mine. But something after the pandemic, no matter what I did, that feeling, that joy, that love I had for working in education, it was gone. And everything that I knew to do to reset wasn't working anymore. And so I had to decide what I needed to do next was something that I was unfamiliar with. It was something that I, needed some help to do. But I was ready to leave education. And so I did. After 27 years, I left education. But I couldn't do it by myself, and I had to realize that. I needed a coach. I needed someone who could help me make that transition. Because as hard as I had worked on everything I accomplished, that was just accomplishments in education. And here I was now trying to venture out into a business world that was totally different. I didn't speak the language. So I knew I needed to get some help. So it's okay when you're ready to make a pivot. That was a big pivot for me when I left education. But sometimes it's not even a big pivot. Sometimes it's a small pivot. I made a pivot recently at the big age of 50 plus, and I realized I was in an identity chokehold. I had to realize that I've been walking around for the last 22, 23 years, and my main title was Tanyika Butler, autism mom, autism advocate. And that what I'd done is denied who I was as a person and everything I'd overcome on my journey. How I was able to pivot away from some leadership roles so I could get to the next level of who I needed to be and be okay. And guess what? I no longer had to do what I was calling rehearsed survival. That means I was putting on a smile when really I wasn't smiling on the inside. And now I can do that. After I started making those moments of realizing that I could make these changes, the image, everything I established was still there because it was built on a foundation. See, you too have built a foundation. So if you want to pivot, it's not that you have to leave a career. That was just one pivot I made. Another one was I pivoted in my identity and realized I was more than just an autism mom. I'm a resilience pivot strategist. I've had to pivot more times than I can count. But guess what? I never lost. Everything I established stayed. Who I was because I built a foundation.